Well, Sean, the verdict came down. You didn't get the murder charge, but you got the reckless homicide charge. Does the Goodson family still feel they got justice today?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jason Meade is going to jail right now, and he's being sentenced to prison, in July. And there is such a relief because they have had to deal with this for over 5 years. Every Christmas without Casey, he's been with, his family, Jason Meade has, and every holiday. And so, there's a relief to know that as we leave court here today, he is not free for what he did to Casey, and that's all they wanted was accountability and justice for Casey. He's been painted as somebody who he was not. He was an innocent man. He was no record, no nothing, and he didn't deserve to die.
Mark Collins made the statement before the judge that reckless homicide does not have a preponderance of prison time. What does that tell you? Because when you look at the charge, it could be 9 to 36 months. Now the judge has to decide potentially, could he serve any time or could he be on probation or parole?
Yeah, I think the judge, the city's watching to understand how justice is doled out to this officer in this moment. And so he took a life and he deserves the full maximum sentence that he can receive. And there should be no discussion on that. I mean, Mark Collins has to do his job as an attorney. I understand that. But he's been free for over 5 years and is now guilty. And, there's also still a pending charge of murder. There was not a not guilty on that. So, certainly I hope that he is sentenced to the full maximum penalty because that's how we have accountability and we prevent future tragedies like this from happening. That's all we want. We don't want to be here in the future. My goal and my job as a civil rights attorney that practices in these cases is to retire early.
You made the point that you didn't want this case to be a broad brush on all law enforcement. Talk about that.
Absolutely. I mentioned in the presser that my grandfather died on Tuesday. And again, he was left for dead almost 60 years ago to the day, May 10th, 1966. And it took an officer telling the truth about what happened on the scene there. It took, a supervisor who, took him to the hospital and saved his life. And he was so gracious, for that. And I want good officers to understand that we're on your side. We want to support you, and we don't want what Jason Meade did to be embraced as something that should be protected. I think that's the struggle there with the rhetoric that I hear is that if a jury has said what they said about this, right, if the FBI and the DOJ and CPD have investigated this, if it's been prosecuted, the system has spoken. And so what it says is that what happened was not right. And anybody who is speaking about how officers should be viewed and treated going forward in this situation, if you do this right here, you should go to prison. Other than that, we want you to be able to use force, to the extent necessary because it's necessary to protect life and safety. But there are ways to keep everyone safe, and that's what we want. We want everybody to live and to go home safely to their families.